and welcome to the first episode of Strictly Businews. I'm your host, Alfonso Santinello. I created this show because I felt like the younger generation of entrepreneurs and professionals needed a show to get the information they wanted related to business. The show will be fun and entertaining, and you see these business shows and no one really watches anymore. The only people I know that watch it is the 80-year-old CEO of my bank and my professor who still uses a projector screen in college, who's probably about 80 years old too. I want to introduce you to my co-host, Corey Veteramo.
Hello.
She's from Western Mass, graduate of Bay Path College. She enjoys shopping on the clearance rack, every store. She likes running and attending events held by me. And she likes candlelit dinners, make her nervous, and she would rather have a Coors Light on the beach. Guys, her number is 555. Our guest co-host for the evening is Jason Turcotte of Turcotte Data and Design. He does IT consulting, website design, and has been in the tech industry for about 25 years. Jason, say hi to the world.
How you doing?
So I just want to start off by saying that we're not journalists. We're not trying to be journalists. We're just having fun, and we're just going to be sharing the news that we know that you want to know, but in a more fun manner. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. The topics we'll be covering today is Tiger Woods, not about his mistresses, but how much money he's been losing since the whole thing has started. We'll go over Apple, how it's now, it's always been, but how it's really innovative and it's made Business Week and Fortune Company's top list. We'll go over how the 12-year-old from the UK racked up a $1,400 bill on Facebook's Farmville. Jason Turcotte will be doing a product testing on the iPad. And we'll do a business spotlight on sticky cakes with the owner, Michael. He's in the studio. And there'll be a few other things along the way. So let's start off with Apple, or Tiger Campaigns, sorry. I know everyone's probably tired of hearing all the stories about the girls here and there, but no one really knows what ads he's been dropped off, how much money he's been losing. From the site, it says he's been dropped from AT&T, which I've never seen a commercial from him before, Gillette, Accenture Waiver, and Tag Heuer, and he's lost a total of $73 million in contracts. You guys want to say anything about good old Tiger Woods?
Well, I recently watched the new Nike controversial, powerful statement that they have out, and it seems like Nike couldn't punish Tiger, so they had to have the dad voiceover. And
I feel like it's eerie. It's weird.
I wasn't impressed, and I didn't feel that, it was really necessary. I don't know what you thought.
What I noticed too with that is, where did that recording come from? That means Tiger's dad has been talking to him like that for a long time, or at least long enough for them to have an audio recording of that.
Right.
So that may actually explain some of his behavior as to why he's acting this way. Maybe it's Tiger's rebelling. Maybe he's a late teenager, but.
I heard his father was actually really strict on him while he was growing up. I don't know if it's, his dad is, I don't know what nationality of Asian he was, but growing up, I'm first generation Italian, and my parents were strict, so I'm sure like his upbringing was really strict, and he's maybe just a late bloomer and lashing out, and it's unfortunate for his family and his wife and his kids. But I don't know, that commercial was just weird. It made no sense. It has nothing to do with Nike or any sport. It was just, I guess it was good in the form of he's trying to get his good PR back, but it's just, I think.
He had to be punished.
Yeah.
Right.
So this was the light way of punishing him, I think.
It was like Nike's recovery plan.
Yeah.
Personally, I think that he should look for new sponsors like Trojan or Durex. I don't know, but.
It's good. Yeah, I don't know. It looked like he was about to cry in that commercial too. It was just like during the whole his apology. I don't know. I really didn't believe it. I did, but he probably took some acting classes instead of going to sex rehab or wherever he wanted to get ready for the apology. So Apple, Business Week and Fortune named them most innovative, which I think is really true. First, let's get into the whole iPhone leaking situation. How the 25-year-old drunk employee left the phone at the bar, and someone found it and sold it to Gizmodo for $5,000. Some of the things that said that the iPhone has changed and how it's different is that it now has a front camera so people can start Skyping on the new version of the iPhone, has split volume control and has a better display. Rumor has it that this is the edition that's going to be brought to Verizon, which should be coming out late summer, early fall as well. And there's a hospital in California that actually bought 100 iPads to give to their employees so that way they had access to email, x-rays, EKGs results, and patient monitoring, so it was easier for them to go around. I think that's the only time I ever wanted to work in a hospital, to get a free iPad.
You know, Apple tends to be a first mover in technology, so it allows them to gain control over, you know, the additional resources, and they also have the huge profit margins. I think it's going to be hard for HP to come out with their Slate, which is their version of the iPad, because the switching costs for consumers are going to be much higher.
Well, oh, go ahead.
You're right. Apple's kind of made it, you know, they're first of the game. You know, they have the App Store behind them already, so people are going to be invested, like you said, in that technology. So if I've got an iPad and HP, or the rumors there's going to be a Google iPad 2 built on Android, if that comes 5 or 6, 7 months from now, well, I'm already embedded or in love essentially with my iPad.
Right.
Where you're right, it's going to take a long time to switch out of that mode.
It's hard for me to understand how HP is going to grasp the Apple user or more consumers.
Well, the difference what the Slate is going to have compared to the iPad is that, I mean, it's not that much difference. It's going to be a little bit bigger, and it's going to have a camera on it. I mean, typically I don't really ever buy anything first generation from Apple because I just wait half a year, and it's going to come out with even better, even faster, even slicker, if that's a word. But you know, they're already talking about coming out with a second edition of the iPad third quarter 2011, which right around Christmas time. I'd rather wait and get that for a gift. Future wife, if you're listening. I don't know. I mean, I think Apple is doing it right. A lot of people are complaining that the iPad is just, you know, it's not new. It's just a bigger iPhone. And, you know, it is, it isn't, whatever you think it is, it's still the first of its kind. It's still a touchscreen computer, and that's what it was meant to be. I think, you know, this is just the beginning of Apple just coming out with a whole new slew of things.
You know, when I had mine, you know, I was one of the guys that stood in line on launch day and had my iPad.
Did you camp outside?
I didn't camp.
Okay.
I didn't camp. But I drove down. I didn't even leave the house till 10, so I'm not that bad. But when I had it, you know, it was Sunday. The next day, I'm sitting on the couch. You know, I think I was watching a movie on Netflix actually, and it kind of struck me that this is Star Wars or Star Trek. You know, remember Star Trek? They walked around with the little pads with all the information on it, and it suddenly just came upon me that time has finally come. You know, we always hear about we're going to have flying cars, and we're going to have all this stuff. Well, for a change, you're actually holding something that you saw on a science fiction show and was able to interact with and use. You know, and that Netflix app is amazing. You know, most of the apps are pretty innovative, but the Netflix one was great. You're holding a television in your hands. You know.
Makes you really feel like you're part of a technology revolution.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
I actually heard recently that Tiger's going to release his own version of the iPad. It's called the iScrew. And you can actually download applications to find your own cocktail waitress.
Nice.
And the private jets are actually sold separately.
Although that's 99 cents.
Does it come with the protection gear?
Yes, all protection included.
All right, so let's save the rest of Apple when we do the iPad product testing. So let's go to Leslie Lambert. She is a real estate agent in Western Mass. She uses technology, social media, in promoting herself and promoting her business in real estate. She uses this thing called a QR code, which is kind of like a barcode. I don't know if there's one like that in the book, but she puts it on one of those for sale signs in front of her house, and people with a smartphone with like iPhone or Droid can walk up and scan it, and it will just automatically take it to the website, and the information like the price, you can see pictures inside of the house, and automatically we'll just get all the information instead of, you know, if she's not on call and she can't get there, they can just get all the information and call her and make an appointment, which I think is pretty genius because I haven't really seen this around Western Mass. I've seen it maybe around Boston and New York, but I think she's definitely a pioneer in Western Mass of mixing the technology and the social media and using it to the fullest capabilities of promoting herself and getting new clients.
Yeah, it's really the replacement for that Take One. If you remember a lot of real estate signs still have them, the little listing sheet you can pull out of there. More and more people, obviously, it's kind of the trend to be green or move away from paper. And I know if I put a piece of paper in my car as I drive away, it's probably going to get buried under the briefcase or buried under whatever, the books, and then you're never going to see it again. Versus this way, at least I was like, oh, I scanned that, I can go back and I can look at that information later as well.
Well, I talked to her earlier in the week, and she wants to be innovative, which I think she's doing a great job. She says she uses social media to blend her personal and her business life together. So, when people meet with her, they kind of get a sense of who she is already. I remember her telling me a while back that, she was showing a house and one thing went wrong after the other. There wasn't plowed, it was snowing out, and she had to plow her little way through to the door for the people. And the people just thought that she was funny, had a sense of humor, and got the house from her just by her personality, and people already knowing who she is because of the social media. Let's go to the volcano eruption in Iceland. Besides people getting stuck there, which is kind of a big thing, and you work at Lego, and you said about 30 or 350.
I believe it's about,
350 people are stuck there on Lego pay, I guess you would say.
And the company dime.
Yeah, company dime, and nice vacation, I guess, for them, but not for Lego. Reports say that Europe and America, between both, are losing $200 million a day in revenue, and it's, especially how it is now in the recession, it's not something that we need. I feel, it just sucks. There's nothing that could have been done about it. It's just one of those things that, we kind of take it and go and move forward. There's businesses that's lost business from it. I know there's a flower shop in West Springfield that lost weeks of revenue just because their shipment didn't come in and their orders couldn't be made, and they've lost clients to their competitors.
On a positive note, everyone's in this together. It's an act of God, and even though it's affecting local businesses, I think everyone is sympathetic towards it. It's something that happened, and it wasn't a terrorist attack or anything like that. So, I'm curious to see what the greater backlash is going to be. It may just be temporary, or it could really hurt us.
We're really, in theory, we're lucky too. Volcanoes can erupt for tens or hundreds of years.
Like Tiger Woods?
Multiple eruptions. So, the fact that we had a week's worth of inconvenience, or a week and a half's worth of inconvenience, is really almost, we're lucky in that case.
That's true.
I know a gentleman who owns a software company in East Hampton that was stuck over there. Same thing. I was following him on Twitter, going, "Well, I'm not leaving today." Every day he'd have to check and see, what the weather forecast was, or the volcano forecast.
So, do you guys know when the projective, when everyone's
They were starting to fly today.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Today is April 22nd?
21st.
21st?
21st.
Sorry. So when you guys watch this on the web, we're probably going to be a couple weeks behind. Let's see. All right, let's go to the
volcano could be erupting again.
Yeah, or
There is
tiger.
supposed to be
Let's see who comes first. No pun intended. No pun intended. All right, so let's go with the kid. The kid in the UK, a 12-year-old kid, rang up a $1,400 bill on Facebook's Farmville. I think it's insane. I personally, no offense to anyone who plays Farmville, is not for me. I just go on Facebook to talk to people and leave. I don't play, I don't want to crop anyone's garden. I don't want to be in anyone's mafia. Just don't even tag me in pictures personally. And I think this is insane. He went through, it says, $440 of his own savings before he took his mother's credit card and rang up $953 his mom's credit card. That's, first off, his mom needs to not leave her credit card lying around everywhere. The company that made the game called Zynga won't refund any of their money. Facebook actually canceled their accounts because, the mother's not blaming the website or Facebook, but she wants more security, and Facebook and both Zynga are both telling her, you should have password protected. Getting on the internet. He's a 12-year-old kid. I remember when I was 12 years old, back then it was AOL, and tie up the phone line, that was the end of the story. But, well, maybe I was lucky. My parents didn't even know how to use a computer. So, but, we were growing up, we had a certain amount of time we would be on the internet or be on the computer. After that, we had certain things to do. To rack up a $1,400 bill, that kid must have been there, I don't know how long. Without his mom even knowing that he was taking the credit card, I think that's a little insane.
Yeah, and I'm not a Farmville player either. I played it once and decided this is not for me. Again, I have better things to do. Although one of the apps on my iPad is similar to Farmville, but it's an iPad. But really, I think Facebook is right in this place. And Zynga, why should they have to refund the money? It's not their fault. It comes down to parental controls. It's like a lot of the problems that are with any of the youth today. Now I feel like an old person, but with any of the youth today is that the parents seem to less involved or have less control over their children. So I think Facebook and Zynga are right on the money in this time. You spent it. It'd be like going to a store, buying something, and expecting to be able just to return it because it was you didn't mean to buy it.
Right. They should just be concerned about the publicity.
Yeah.
Around it. I mean.
Yeah, they could easily turn this around and spin it into a great story by doing something in real life, maybe even to maybe give the kid a virtual sheep, or a real life sheep or something. Make some. Spin this. Well, Farmville sheep.
I didn't
tiger.
know you had to spend money on Farmville. I thought one of those.
I've never played. I don't even know.
Yeah, I was like,
I think it's free, but if you want to progress faster, you can buy things that make.
You want to buy hose
on
there?
Yeah, essentially, like a tiger. But you can buy progress in the game. I think is where he probably racked up that fee.
All right. Well, I don't know. I won't intend to be playing that game anytime soon. But they did say that Farmville is launching into the iPhone, the iPad, and the Android, which pretty much means more 12-year-olds will be racking up $1,400 bills, which is good for them and bad for their parents. All right, so that's it for the hot topics. Next up, we will talk to Michael with Stinky Cakes, and you guys will see what the big noise is about, I guess. So here we have Michael from Stinky Cakes, founder and creator. Mike, why don't we just go a little bit over your background, like where you went to school and where you grew up?
Well, I grew up in the Bahamas, and I moved over here in, I think it's like 2000, 2001. Went to school at HCC, got accepted to UMass, but the week before I graduated, I got a job at the Republican as a graphic artist, which is what I wanted to do. So instead of going on to four-year school, I just decided to jump into the workplace.
So when did you create Stinky Cakes?
Stinky Cakes came a few years later. In 2007, it was a hobby. Mm-hmm. We kind of turned it into a business in about 2008, something like that, and we've been going strong ever since.
Yeah. How'd you come up with the name? Because, I mean, the name is unique and people are not going to forget Stinky Cakes.
Well, I would love to take credit for the name. I really would. But back when we were becoming a business, my oldest son, Mikey, when he handled his bathroom business, he would call it Stinkies. So, so one day we were in strictly business mode, my wife and I, and he stumbled and he goes, "Dad, I did Stinkies." So I said, "Wow, that's kind of cool." Because at the time we had different names, and at the Daisy Cakes was the forerunner. Mm-hmm. So that Daisy Cakes had like a sentimental value to us, and we wanted to do that. But he said Stinkies, and I was like, "Wow, Stinky Cakes." I loved it. My wife loved it. We knew it was something that parents could connect with, babies could connect with, and so now what we say is we provide the cake and baby provides the Stinkies. And and anybody that has a problem with the name, very few people do, but the people that have a problem with the name, we tell them, well, they wait about 14 years and then they can take it up with Mikey, and then they normally laugh.
So, how did you even come up with the concept of like creating a cake filled with diapers?
Well, when we had, like I said, I have two sons, and when I had after my second son was born, we just wanted diapers. So my mother and my mother-in-law, they both wanted to get my second son, Aiden, everything Mikey had. They wanted to get him a new stroller, a new high chair, and because they said, well, he's got to have his own stuff. Our grandma wants to get him. No, just give us diapers. So believe it or not, there's a big stigma behind giving a box of diapers. So some people are uncomfortable doing that. Now, my mother and my mother-in-law, they weren't uncomfortable, but they knew diapers were practical gift. So they just wanted to give us the other stuff. So we decided to find a cool way to make diaper giving like an awesome gift, like a way to wow. So we decided to look at the baby shower, because at the time our plan was we were going to market our product to people planning baby showers. Mm-hmm. So we go, yeah, well, if they plan the shower, every shower has the games and this and that, and every shower has a cake. So we said, why not make a cake, make the diapers look like a cake to match the cake, the actual cake at the baby shower.
Nice. So you said you started it as a side project and you just worked on it and turned it into a business. What was that? What was the turning point where you wanted to turn it into the business?
Well, we decided to make it a business when my mother-in-law, she would actually take him to baby showers, and every time she would come back with basically an order. Someone wanted one, excuse me, someone wanted a stinky cake for their next baby shower gift. So we go, well, I think we have something there. So then when our friends ended up buying one, and she took one to a baby shower, and she came back, well, this person wants one. So we decided to give the people what they want. We made stinky cakes a company.
So what was the hardest part of, once you got the business up and going, what was the hardest part of keeping it a business and not a side project?
Well, funding. Initially, funding was easy because what we did was we just went to people that bought a stinky cake already. So they understood that it was a product that people love and the joy it brought at a baby shower, and everybody would talk about it. But when we went to banks and VCs, they were basically telling us that, I'm holding on my money, because this was when we were in the heart of the recession. Yeah. So no one wanted to hear nothing about a startup, none of that. That was just like, I'm trying to keep my money. So we decided, we said, okay, this was our first obstacle. So right then we could have quit. We were like, yeah, no one's trying to fund this. We just, we got a cool product, but if we have no money to pay. But we didn't listen to that. What we did was we decided to use social media to our advantage. So because a big part of what we were going to do with the money was advertise and then kind of, get a mentor, because there's a lot of people that, you could pay big money for them to tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. But so instead of doing that, I started going on Twitter, and I would follow people in related fields that I respected, that were good at what they did. I just would read what they say, how they did what they did, and I was like, wow, there's a lot of common sense behind this. And then we kind of went over to Facebook. We got the Facebook fan page, the like page now, and we just kind of got interacting with our customers, the people that already love stinky cakes. So word of mouth ended up doing better for us than I think what we would have done if we got the money and spent it on advertising.
So what, it's been a few years now. What would you think was your highest point in the business so far?
Well, the highlight, I think, for me is just knowing that we're known in New England. We're known in this area now. Like, that's kind of crazy in itself. We've been featured on affiliate NBC stations, ABC stations, the Boston Herald, NPR, Inc. magazine.
Well, you do have the big noticeable van that drives around.
It's
kind of like the Wiener Dog van, but it's like the Stinky Cake van. And people, they see the van, they take the picture, and I see it on Twitter all the time, like there's a Stinky Cake van. So I mean, I think that right there, that's a great advertising point right there.
It's cool stuff.
Big van, cake and lettering, colorful, and just grab people's attention.
You can't miss it. But I just want, like, another one of the highlights was last year I was selected as one of Business West top 40 under 40. Like, that, I wasn't even expecting that. Like, I'm just working hard. Like, so for my peers to nominate me and for Business West to select me, that means I'm doing something right and people are noticing it. And my wife, she was selected last year top 200 leading moms in business, and that's in the U.S. Like, wow. Like, so this is unbelievable stuff. Like, just we work hard and crazy stuff started happening. But the biggest thing so far for Stinky Cakes as a brand was, about 2-3 weeks ago, we had one of the Red Sox players purchase 2 Stinky Cakes. Like, I mean,
really?
that was like, So I mean,
did you get an autograph?
We didn't. I mean, because what ended up happening is this person had a translator that handled everything. I can't say who it is, but you can kind of figure out. But they had it, so we didn't really get to hand it to them because the translator handled that, but it was still cool. The fact that they decided to buy 2, not 1, 2 Stinky Cakes. They bought one for the wife and one for one of the wife's friends.
The wife needs diapers?
The wife? No, no, for the baby, for the wife. Okay. It's all tied in. Mommy rules.
So I've met you a while ago and we were talking, and you keep talking about the wannabes and the competitors. Who do you think your biggest competitor is?
Well, you know what? Right now, I think there's so many people that try and copy what we do. But when it comes to copying, and this is how I deal with that. One of the Boogie Moms, the Boogie Moms, the 2 moms that created this great product called Boogie Wipes. When you have kids, you're gonna need Boogie Wipes because it's like it just cleans kids' noses without them hassling. But what they say is I should expect the competition to notice me, and copy us in one way or another. And if they don't copy us, that means we're doing something wrong. So anything we do, like if you look at people, and like I said, like if I go back to our story, when we first started this, like we gonna make the cakes match, we thought we had hit. We went online and we saw that other people was already kind of doing stuff similar. So I wouldn't even ever take the actual credit for starting the diaper cake because I didn't do that. But what I did was, we knew we had to get a funky name, no pun intended. So we decided to brand the name. But with the copycats, they just, I mean, even our wording on our site, because everything's different. Like every cake has a name. Like we have a Mr. Man Stinky Cake that's supposed to be for the future entrepreneur. Or we have the Delightful Diva. She's gonna be the new diva. She's gonna take over Mommy's spot from being the diva. It's fun stuff. Yeah. So we look on other sites and they go on Craigslist and they go on Craigslist, they post stuff, and I'm almost like, am I reading a broken version of my site? And I mean, but if that means we're doing something well, for them to copy us down to that. Mm-hmm. But what makes us stand out from our competition or our copycats is that the quality of our work. Like our design team, they take extreme pride in what they do. Like, I mean, there's no loose ribbon or, yeah, they won't notice this. No, every cake is like, if it's for me, if it's good enough for me, it's good enough for you. If I don't want it, I wouldn't want to give it out. Yeah. So that's the way our design team works, and that's just what we do. So, and another thing what our competition do is it's almost like if you go on their sites, and not to knock anybody down, because everybody do what you could do, but if you go on their sites, it's almost like they all mimicking each other. It's like no creativity. So whatever they do, whatever they're doing, we in the opposite direction. When they zig, we zag, and that's something that our customers love. Like I don't go and track down people that are copying us. Yeah. Like we get emails, this lady in this spot is doing this now, because our customers love us. Like, and that's another thing. One thing people have to understand. Like our customer base is this is like grassroots guerrilla marketing. So this started up with people that want to see you succeed. It's like friends and family. So like it's deep ties. So just how excited I get about Stinky Cakes, a Stinky Cake customer when you see one, because like, oh, it's Stinky Cakes, ah! Just like how
take a picture of the van and put it on.
And they do that. This is what they do. We have a strong following, and I love that.
Yeah, so you're talking about how the competition, you guys are doing the different cakes, and I recently noticed that you're expanding and the different kinds of cakes you guys are doing. Do you want to touch upon that?
Well, yeah, we do whatever our customers want. It's just what we do. Like we love to be challenged. Like, for example, this one we have now, we did it for Tara Tatro from Jackson and Connor. She's a friend of mine. She's other 40 classes me, and we were at a networking event a few weeks back, and she said, I'm going to a baby shower. I said, well, why don't you, she said, I want something different. If you know Tara, she's like, she's cool. She's like good energy. And so I said, challenge me. She said, well, I want two. I want a Brazilian soccer cake and I want a Japanese themed cake. So I'm like, Brazilian soccer? Yeah, we can do that. But I knew if I came back with the team, we'll figure it out. And we ended up doing that cake for her, and she loved it. And the mom loved it, and dad loved it, and it was awesome. You could see that. You could actually see it on the site. And then, so now this is the second one we did for her, but we could get into that when you do it. You know what else I wanted to say? What I forgot to say was really important. Another thing about us and our competition, like Stinky Cakes is more than just, diapers and cake. It was more than that. Like we're committed to social change. Like, so when I do stuff, I always do stuff with my community in mind. So like, for example, I was invited to talk on 93.7 out of Connecticut on the air of a show on Sundays called Urban Voices. And I could have went on the show and just talked about Stinky Cakes for a whole hour and considered it great, free advertising. But what I did was I went on and I wanted to talk about encourage kids to become entrepreneurs. Because I figured a lot of kids in the street, if they would just change their product, from something illegal to something, whatever, chairs, cameras, whatever it is. If you just change your product, you could really create something that you could retire from, and your friends could retire from, and your family, something you could live off, something you could hand down to your kids. And I thought it was cool. And so on the way back from Boston, I saw a kid in mid-20s. He got so excited when he saw the Stinky Mobile. I said, that's one of my guys. I just knew it because it was Connecticut plates. I just knew it. So when I got back to the office, I checked the messages personally, and he was so excited. He was like, So I ended up calling him back. I said, how you doing? It's Mike from Stinky. He said, man, I just got to tell you, I heard you on Urban Voices, and this was like months after the Urban Voices thing. I heard you on Urban Voices, and I just want you to know that, you're making a difference. And